Good afternoon, everyone. Let's call Prattville Planning Commission to order. Madam Secretary, would you please call roll?
Mayor Gillespie. Here. Councilman Chambers. Chairman Gardner.
Here.
Vice Chair Daniel.
Here.
Mr. Marshall. Mr. Allen. Ms. Carpenter.
Here.
Mr. Hayden.
Here.
Mr. Mullins.
Here.
And Mr. Daughtry.
Here.
Thank you very much. All right. Do we need to vote our new member in? Is he already? He's already in. Good, thank you. All right, the first order of business is minutes from the March 2025. Do we have the minute from the 2025? Are there any changes?
Move to approve.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Are there any discussion? Here now we call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Minutes was approved. Now we go to old business, and the first old business was postponed 3/20, and it's preliminary plat, Lower Kingston Road, Plat 1, location Lower Kingston Road. Owner is Goodwin Building Company Incorporated, Alabama Land Survey. Represent.
So here we have just an overview of that surrounding community and their proposed site. Here we have a closer look at those two lots that will become one. This property is currently zoned R3. Please note that Lot 1 and 2 are in the AH flood zone. This proposed lot would be split into 4 lots. Lot 1 and 2 will have frontage on Lower Kingston. Please note that Lot 3 and 4 are considered flag lots. However, the shared drive will have a 20 feet frontage on Lower Kingston. So here we have an example of that proposed building size, which will be 17 by 32, which is 748 square feet, with a 12 feet long carport. Please note that that this development follow under the regulations of zoning and subdivisions, and will still have to be reviewed by the city departments with the residential building plans. Do y'all have any questions for me?
Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is a preliminary, and this is not a public hearing. It's the representative of Alabama Land Surveyor present.
Good afternoon. I'm James Monk with Alabama Land Surveyors. Be happy to answer any questions you may have concerning this subdivision.
Are there any members of the committee have any question of the commissioner at this time? Do we have any question of any? Have you made any changes after it was postponed, or is it still as such?
It's as such, sir. I think the question was, I think, due to some elevations. You can see on the plat we've added. I think they were on there the first time, but the base flood elevation out there is showing like a 184. Some of the base flood contours are around 198. The only lot is Lot 2 that even falls close to. Everything else is higher than that. So if they was to build up these pads or houses at all, they're out of the flood. So I believe that was the major concern last time was, what's this going to do to flooding? But I know the base, FEMA's map shows it as such, but when you check the elevations, they're really right there at it at the road. I think the road was even like elevation 201. So Lot 2 is really the only one that's even affected, and we've got that house outside of the limits of what FEMA says the base flood is.
Okay, thank you. Is there any more questions? Hear none, I call for the question. All in, what? Go ahead, I didn't hear you.
These are
Turn your
flag-
mic on, please.
These are flag lots. Why, I just think as a planning commission, we haven't been in favor of flag lots.
But at the preliminary, it was, we didn't deny them then, and they wasn't, are these flag lots that y'all have?
Yes, sir, they're the same as what we
How many
submitted.
different lots are there?
There's 4 lots in total.
See? Why did we allow to get to the preliminary if they were voted in as flag lots from the beginning? Pardon?
I don't know.
I mean, they meet the requirements, it's just maybe not preferred, but I mean, it does meet the regulations.
From the planning department? Does they meet the regulations?
So yes, so please note please note that please note that only lot 3 and 4 are considered flag lots, since they would have that shared drive, which is the stem. However, they do meet the requirements of subdivision regulations, providing that 20 feet wide frontage on Lower Kingston. So no waivers or anything like that are being requested at the time, since they're abiding by the regulations.
They are provided by the regulation according to the city of Prattville?
Yes, they are doing that 20 feet frontage on Lower Kingston.
Okay. Is there anyone else have any more questions? That's it? All right. Hear none, I call for the vote. All in favor of, excuse me? Did someone say something? Okay, come on. I thought it was ready.
Hey, I'm Dustin Woodley. It's actually not Goodwin Builder, it's Alabama Signature Homes. We did end up following and I gave these out last time. You're new to the party? You got one? There you go. Here is what we're proposing to build. This is sort of inspirational if you want to pass it down. All right, so one of the biggest, did everyone get one? I think this, okay. Their only slight little change that we did was a little ravine on the right-hand side of the property with some riprap. The biggest concern was by Harvey was that the water coming through to the city sewer system in the front and ending up on his property. So Harvey and I sat down, we talked and everything. James came up with some riprap about every 50 feet that would slow any water coming into the street level down. So that was one of the only concerns that y'all said, hey, let's sort of table this and then have a vote. And if you look on the right-hand side, that's what we've done. Every 50 feet, there'll be a riprap to slow the water. And Harvey was good with that,
Okay.
which is an accomplishment.
All right, any questions? Does anyone on the commission have any questions at this time? Thank you very much, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right, Yes. Mr. Daniel, would you please read it in, the resolution?
Preliminary plat, Lower Kingston Road, Plat 1, March 20th, 2025. Whereas Alabama Land Surveyors, Inc. has presented a preliminary plan of Lower Kingston Plat 1 for consideration by the Planning Commission, and whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits at 614 and 624 Lower Kingston Road, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed preliminary plat was heard on March 20th, 2025, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby approves the preliminary plat of Lower Kingston, plat of Lower Kingston, Plat 1. So moves.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Any further questions?
Excuse me, I do want to point out, did we open the floor to the public as well, before, we amend the vote or go further?
Say again?
I do want to make a note to ask if we did open the floor to the public before we move forward with the voting.
Yeah, we had that for the last meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, John. All right. Been read in. Any further question?
So it was presented at the last meeting, was the first that it was presented, correct? Is that,
No.
it was postponed, right, but that was the first we had heard. I mean, I was not here last meeting, so that's why, you know, and I just know that we have, as a planning commission, not endorsed flag lots. And I just wonder why. Frowned on. Yeah.
Yes, but
Not endorsed them. I mean, why this call,
y'all
why
speak,
this would be an
speak in your
exception.
mic now.
Why
turn your
this
mic
would
on.
be an exception.
I think all we've done is defined flag lots and put minimum requirements on them, and then we've frowned on them, but we haven't voted them down.
But my question, we haven't voted them down, but we've only, in, I would say, few circumstances, with some reasoning usually behind them. Yeah. So what are the reasons for having, you know, why should this be an exception, so to speak?
Based on what I see, that it has met all the city requirements, based on what I'm hearing. And if the City of Prattville Engineering Department did not deny the opportunity for them to meet our preliminary, then it should be approved as such. And we brought it up to this point. And I don't see a reason to deny it at this point, because it is at this point and it's where it is. And it's the location. And they've met, and we postponed it for them to get it where it is as of today. And that's why it was, that's why it was tabled for the last meeting, so they could meet the requirements. And so it's been approved and accepted by the City of Prattville Engineering Department, and that's why it's favored, because it is a preliminary. Unless we find something that's really, really different, we supposed to vote in favor unless there's something that's very, very, very different.
So we now just say it's okay to have flag lots? That's what I am hearing.
No, we only talking about this one Pacific.
Right.
We talking about this one, not others, because others may come in here be much, much different from this, and if it's much different and it's not approved, then we don't vote in favor.
But I'm just saying, what makes this flag lot acceptable?
Just the minimum. We've defined how wide the pole can be.
Okay, that's
And
what
it,
I.
yeah, it has to be a minimum of 20 feet, and so they've,
They've met that.
yep.
Right. All right. Any further questions or comment? Having been read in, hear none. All in favor of this preliminary plat, Lower Kingston Plat Number 1, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Thank you. All right, we're going into new business now, and this is a public hearing, and it's zoning amendment B2 to B3. And it's County Road 4 East and Washington Ferry Road, position of City of Prattville.
So here we have a zoning amendment for County Road 4 East and Washington Ferry, B2 to R3. Here's just the general location of it off of County Road 4. There's a total of 16 lots. Most of them are single-family residentials. And here you see the different zonings, B2, and then around it we have R3 industrial. And then future land use map has it as mixed-use residential. There is only one lot that is owned by a local business, but it is undeveloped. Any questions?
All right. Thank you very much. No question. This is a public hearing. Is it anyone like to come up and speak? This is a public hearing.
I'd like to speak real quick.
If you will, please sign in. Have you already signed in?
I have not.
Okay. And if there anyone else like to come up and speak, please come and sign in now.
Dennis Mullins, I live at 521 Weatherby Trail. I have an office there in the industrial park area. Matter of fact, 2 offices there. I'm just curious to why is the city making this petition? Why is the city the petition on this? Why is there not an individual that's requiring this to be changed from a B2 to an R3? Why is the city doing it?
Yes, please.
Dennis, we've found over the last several years, there's been a lot of areas in city that have, the zoning has been incorrect for decades. There's already homes here. There are already homestead or residential properties in most of these lots. And so they've been zoned B2 for many, many years, which in the residential, you can't have a homestead and a residential on a zoned business lot. So we're
Okay.
cleaning up as we see them. The staff has done a good job finding a lot of these properties have been rezoned improperly for way before our time.
Okay,
So
but
we're
is
just
it,
going back clean.
is this gonna open up though, the availability for more houses to go in there on empty land or anything? Is that what that's gonna cause?
Possibly,
open
but
that up?
most of these, there's already, how many homes? I think there's, most all of them, I go down that road every day.
I'm trying to
Most of
find
them already have homes there.
Go to the,
It's where you turn off 82 there, off
Yeah,
Washington Ferry,
I see it.
crossing Kennedine.
Mm-hmm.
All those are homes anyway. They've just been zoned B2. They've just been zoned B2 for decades, and it's
Okay.
just, we're catching up
Okay.
in the times to fix some of these that have been rezoned improperly.
Yep, you answered my question. I'm good. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else like to come up and speak at this time? Hearing none, I close the public hearing. Let me see. Ms. Carpenter, would you read in the resolution?
Zoning amendment from B2 to R3, City of Prattville, petitioner, April 17th, 2025, whereas the City of Prattville has submitted a request to rezone the property as described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B, and whereas the subject property is located inside of the city limits at County Road 4 East and Washington Ferry Road, and whereas the petitioner wishes to rezone the approximately 4.18 acre property from B2 to R3, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed zoning amendment was held by the Prattville Planning Commission on April 17th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby recommends the rezoning of said property from B2 to R3. So moved.
Do I hear a second?
second.
All right. Is there further discussion?
Yes.
All right.
I'd encourage the commission here to support this. Several different reasons. One of them is piggyback off of what Commissioner Mullins talked about, how this has basically been just inaccurately zoned over the many, many decades. But by going to residential, it does offer some protection, because with the business zoning, there's no basically setback with the business zoning. So someone could bring in whatever it might happen to be and set it up right on the property line. Residential, there are setbacks, as we all know, front, back, and sides, so it gives protection to the neighbors there. The other reason is financial. One of the other times that we did this, and it was right behind Church's Chicken, or I believe now I think it's Scooter's Coffee. The lady didn't come here, but she came down to the council meeting, I believe it was, and actually thanked us, because she kept trying to get it rezoned from business to residential, because it saved her on her property taxes. So it's best for the community all the way around. So I hope everyone will consider this and support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else like to speak?
Can you tell me what, exactly what
Ho-
street, my name is Dorothy Smith.
Hold a second. You missed the public were you here during the public hearing?
I wanted to ask.
Mr. Chair, I would like to hear what she said, if you don't mind.
If you will, please come up and sign in. And listen, if you have anything to say, please say it among the public hearing. Because we out of the public hearing now, we into the business of it. We're gonna allow this to happen this time or thereafter.
My name is Dorothy Smith from Spring Hill, and I just would like to know exactly what streets are included in this rezoning. I didn't get a copy. What streets are included, because I'm on Hazel Street. And there's Hill Street, Spring Street, all those streets are down there. And when you rezone, that means that all these areas will be residential, not business, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. I just want to know what streets are.
If you'd like a copy of this, I'll be glad to.
Please, thank you.
50 cents a copy, but
What streets are included in that?
You gotta speak in the mic, ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
See,
just-
all of this information is being recorded.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure it's recorded in favor or instead of assume.
Okay. I just wanted to know what streets are included in this rezoning and what streets are already residential in that area, because there's a lot of streets down there. There's Moore Drive, Spring Street, Hill Street. All those streets are down there. I just need to know what street is gonna do the whole area.
So if you
Oh,
look at
sorry.
the map, you'll see the lots are outlined in blue. So the ones that are red and outlined in blue, those are the ones that are getting rezoned from B2 to R3.
And that's
And that-
residential.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And it's just off of County Road 4 and Washington Ferry.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I apologize. I was late to the meeting. I am Linda Gilmore with Willow Ridge Apartments, and
What's your address?
500 Old Farm Lane South.
Okay.
Okay. And I was just coming to find out about the information that's going in on Old Farm Lane.
Oh, we're not at that yet.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay,
Well, I
now-
thought you said we're at the end of the
No.
meeting. Okay, good.
No, just this resolution.
Okay.
We do one resolution at a time, and when we get to Old Farm Lane, then you would know it.
Okay, sorry about that. I
No
was
problem.
late.
No problem. All right. Is there anything else? Hear none, I call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. Now we in item number 2, which is a public hearing as well. And that is Mosey H. Thomas Estate Plat 1, location south end of McGriff Street, Johnson Street, and Highway 82 bypass. And owner is Latricia Gardner. And this is a public hearing, and Larry Speaks and Associates.
Here we have a view of that surrounding community and that property. And here's a closer look at that proposed property. This property is zone R2. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the property into 2 lots. Lot 1 will be developed as a 0.5 acre lot, while Lot 2 will be a 3.03 acre lot, and will remain the same during this time. However, the applicant can go more in detail about future development. Please note that the proposed plat was previously presented to the Plan Commission on November 21st in 2024 as a sketch plan, and was approved with conditions allowing only Lot 1 to move forward, excluding lots 2 through 7. I want to note that modifications were made to the proposed plat, and they're not currently requesting to subdivide 2 through 7, which was the additional 6 lots at this time. I also want to note, when the packet was being developed and sent out, it was a waiver that was being requested with curb and gutter. However, the applicant speaking with our engineering department, that waiver is no longer valid during the time of this request, as he's abiding by the subdivision regulations and the engineering regulations and codes as well, which you will see presented at that current plat that was handed out.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
Do we have any questions? Any questions? Hear none, thank you very much. This is a public hearing. This is a public hearing.
Yes, I'm Greg Gillen with Larry Speaks and Associates, and speaking on behalf of the petitioner. And as we stated, we're trying to just plat the 1 lot, and we're platting the rest of the lots that were proposed as 1 lot. And the engineer asked that I provided a reserved area for a future cul-de-sac, so that whenever the rest was developed, we're designating an area for that. We also had a request from the Waterworks Board to provide a 10-foot water main easement, so that they have some other issues, and they're trying to extend the water system back to the Johnson Street area and back to the east to increase some water pressure. So we're setting up for a water easement for the Waterworks Board to use to do that. And I'm ready to answer any questions you may have.
Now, did you say that that's the triangle area for the lot?
Yes, this
Right.
would be the 1 lot.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
the other, we'd still designate that as Lot 2, but it's just a future lot, and then platting all of it, we're dedicating the easements and the water easement and designating the future cul-de-sac area.
Okay. All right. Any question for Mr. Gillen?
I don't have a question, but I do have a comment. I just want to say thank you for, not only you, but the gardener, Patricia, and everybody for working with the water board, because as mentioned earlier, the fire hydrants that will be brought in will be very beneficial to so many. And one of the next phases on Robinson Street is potential surface going down to take it from being a dirt street to being a little maintenance type product, but it is not a asphalt street. But I want to thank the family for working with them on this one.
All right, thank you. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone else like to come up and speak? All right, please state the name and address.
Hi, my name is Will Bortfield. I am a resident at 528 McGriff. I share a property boundary with this proposed lot number 1. The end of McGriff Street is at the property line. and it is currently barricaded and has been barricaded the entirety of the time that that neighborhood has existed. So my question is, what is the planned entry point to get to this lot?
All right, Mr. Gillen,
The planned entry point. for this
please speak
lot-
in the mic so we can all hear.
I'm gonna switch sides so I can show this to you. So the planned entry point is right here off McGriff Street, and it's just for the one lot. The rest of the family, it's heir property, and they have no interest in doing anything with the property. This property could all be sold off and something else done with in the future, but all we're coming in here to do is try to set up for a one lot, and that lot to have access to McGriff, and that's it at this time.
So would this be a paved?
Speak in the mic so I can hear.
Would this be a paved entry?
I have not discussed the entry material with the landowner. I'm assuming they're either gonna put a gravel drive up through here or a concrete driveway, but they have not told me that. I don't think they've made a plan with a house or anything at this point in time, but it'd be a normal driveway coming in.
At the way the property is currently marked, Lot 1 is literally in the center of the barricade. So I'm confused as to how half of a barricade would be opened up versus the entire thing. And we do have concerns about that because we have a lot of kids who play in that area.
Well, as it comes for the barricade, it belongs to the city, and we have not discussed what we would do with that barricade or how we would assess it or deal with it, period. So I would have to work that out with the city and the engineer to allow us to deal with that barricade. And I wouldn't think that we'd leave half of it up, but Paxton may be able to speak to that.
Yeah, so once this is subdivided and we actually see a proposed plan of what's coming on these lots, at that point, we would have that conversation with the developer or with the property owner to discuss what's best how to handle that area. That's why we're requiring him to go ahead and plot this as a future cul-de-sac. It's hard to answer that question until something actually a house gets built here, a house gets built here, then we would have that conversation. But we would require something. I do understand your concern, and we wouldn't just allow them to come in and take down half a barricade.
Right.
So,
Would there be a separate construction entrance? Because that street isn't really designed for heavy equipment in and out. Yeah, the pavement stops.
They're gonna build a home just like your home, and it would be the same type of construction that you had for your home. So I would assume that we'd be coming in from McGriff Street, although there would be an opportunity to come in from Johnson. But nobody's requested us for one lot to try to come in with a different construction access or anything of that nature.
we do as a city, when it comes to us for review, we require construction entrances, things like that, to protect our pavement. That's whether you're building here, you're building anywhere along a city street, we require a certain type construction entrance to help preserve and protect that asphalt.
Is that lot one or?
Excuse me, sir, have you signed in? Have you
I
signed?
just want to see what they were discussing.
But you getting into a conversation, if you want to be a part of it, you need to come and sign in and let us know who you are.
Okay.
While he signs in, may I approach? I have signed in.
Okay.
I'm Dana Patterson. My address is 518 McGriff Street, and I serve as the president of the Homeowners Association at the Cove, which is McGriff Street, the neighborhood that is in question. So my question is, I have a statement. He's just said that the city maintains that barricade or owns the barricade, but we were told that the neighborhood owns the barricade, and we've been maintaining that barricade, cutting it, pressure washing it, painting it, because it was our understanding that the homeowners association owned that barricade.
If you'll send me an email, I'll give you my email after this, we'll look into that.
I will.
And check into that.
In
see how those
fact,
work.
I have my cards here if you would like.
Okay.
And what's your name?
Paxton Reese, Paxton, Reiss.
All right, IEISS.
And it's paxton.reset.privately.gov.
Thank you, Mr. Reese.
Yeah, if you'll reach out, we'll take a look at that.
Absolutely.
All right?
I do have an additional question. So I do want to be clear for the residents and myself about the entry point of where the driveway is going into the neighborhood. I don't know if we're voting on that today or if it's final after today, but there are some concerns as to making that end of our neighborhood open and accessible. So I don't know, I know they said that it'll be one driveway, so I just want to be sure, because I'm hearing a lot of in the future type talk. So I want to be sure that in the future, what's going to happen to that entry level and how much foot traffic will we have going in and out of that tiny area that now has the barricade?
Once we get through this process, then that would then be determined by the engineers, and then it will go to our engineering department for approval, and then it'll come before us again, and then you'll get a chance to see exactly where the entry is going to be. As of now, we don't have all that full information. The thing is now they bring it before us to be approved, so it can be approved for wherever they decide to put that driveway in.
Okay, so when you say they decide, is it the homeowner's choice or is it the neighborhood's choice?
It's the homeowner and the engineering choice in what's best for the neighborhood.
So when you say the homeowner, do you mean the homeowners in the cove or do you mean the homeowner that's potentially building? Because it sounds to me like we don't have much of a choice as to whether or not that property is opened up there.
Yeah, it's a public road.
Mm-hmm.
So unfortunately, if it had been built into a cul-de-sac and y'all own the property on the other side of the cul-de-sac, then you could prevent it. But since it's a public road and that person's property connects to it, they have a right to the public road.
Okay.
So
I just wanted to get an idea as to what we were looking at, because the one driveway is great, that's fine, but when we start to open it up to multiple driveways or multiple access, again, we do have children who play in that area, and then not only the children who play in that area, but then that's gonna open up some through traffic that the neighborhood may not be prepared for, if you will.
It's 3 acres, so at one point, they originally planned for 7 lots. So looking at it, they might could get 8 or 9 out of it, but you're not looking at a huge amount of homes that can fit on 3 acres.
Well, it won't be the homes that opens up the foot traffic. It's a lot of the flow through, because like now our neighborhood houses about 52 properties. But with the drive-through traffic that we have now, because I've been in the code for 20 years and there was no entrance going one way, it just kind of cut off. But then now we have some new houses down at the bottom of the hill that have opened up. And so we do see a lot more traffic coming in and out of that area.
Yeah. Unfortunately, as a public road, I hate to sound negative when I say this, the only way to prevent progress is to buy your neighbor's lot. That sounds very negative.
That's impossible.
No.
Let's be realistic.
Yeah. The other person has just as much right to the public road as you do. So we can't stop them from accessing the road because someone else has kids playing in the road or near the road and they're afraid of that neighbor. Everyone has equal access to the public road.
And I understand that, but it's not a matter of kids playing in the road and afraid of being a neighbor. Like I said, the one neighbor, because I spoke with the landowners, the one neighborhood driveway sounds great, but then now today, I'm learning that there's a future plan, not really ready plan, that's going to probably open up some more area. So I'm just wondering what that looks like, and if we're not ready to discuss that, I understand.
Yes, Mr. Mullins.
Ma'am, all we're doing today is we're dividing that one lot away from the entire acreage. We are not making plans on who's going to build what and how and when. That's for a future term.
Okay.
Right now, we're just dividing the dirt. That's all we're here to do, to give them access to be able to take Lot 1, possibly build their home, possibly put a drive, which will all have to be approved by that gentleman right next to you, and to make sure that it's in place and the city's okay with it.
Okay.
So we don't have anything to do with Lot 2, which will be, it says future, It might happen next month, it might happen 20 years down the road. We have no idea or no way of knowing that because it's privately owned and people have rights on their property to do what they want, as long as it meets the guidelines within the city. So it will come before us. If anything were to come back up and Lot 2 wants to get divided again or build more houses, it has to come before this staff and this body before it ever moves forward. So all we're doing in this meeting, at this particular resolution, at this particular time, is taking that one triangle lot there and dividing it from the other acreage, so that that one person could possibly build a home there and they would have their own driveway.
Okay.
At this point in time, that's all that's being done.
All right. Well, in the
Okay.
future, we would absolutely love to receive correspondence as to what's going.
If anything in the
happening
future,
going
you'll get a
forward.
mail, just like you did before with a sign. It comes up 30 days prior to anything that's done within inside the city limits. You will be notified by registered mail, and a big sign will be making y'all crazy with a sign sitting there in front of your neighborhood for 30 days or better. So
That's fine.
you're duly notified, but at this point in time, all we're doing is dividing that one triangular piece of property there from the rest of that acreage.
Okay.
So that they can figure out, yeah, I want to build a house here, and how am I going to get to it? And
Okay.
then they'll have to be approved by the city and their engineers.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you now.
Sure.
Sir?
I'm Terry Stanfield, and I own property on Robertson Road, Johnson Street, and Highway 82. And I was just concerned what they were discussing, and I just wanted to hear what was going on.
Right. Did you get an understanding in from what you heard?
Partially, yes.
Okay. All right. All right, thank you very much. This is still a public hearing. Is it anyone else like to come up and speak? Did,
I've already signed up.
okay.
I don't got to sign up, I don't have to sign up again, do I? Dennis Mullins, 521 Weatherby Trail. So what we're saying here, Greg, what we're saying, is that cul-de-sac a real thing now, or is that just future? Or is that gonna be real?
The cul-de-sac is intended to be future if
Okay.
anything else happens with the property.
So-
There
so-
was never an intention to build a road through it, but
Okay.
the city wanted us to acknowledge the fact that if we went any further, we would have to put the cul-de-sac in that area.
So in essence, what we did was, we stubbed it out, so we're stopping the connectivity to this piece of property right there by saying that that's gonna be a cul-de-sac in the future. So there's no connectivity gonna be from McGriff Street to this piece of property right here, unless it be a cul-de-sac and individual driveways. Is that what I'm hearing? Because
Yes.
I guess if we divided, took a piece of that property for a driveway that's gonna go up in there, that eliminates any connector street going through, because we've taken away part of that road to make a connector street.
They could always come in the future and subdivide, so to sit here and say, we're completely eliminating that is not accurate. But with this plan here, all it does is carve out a section of land to where if these two lots get developed, we can then require them to put in a cul-de-sac. No connection to Johnson Street would be allowed per this plan.
So what's
They
the-
would have to resubmit additional information. It
So
would have to come
you're
before-
saying it's gonna be, the only way that it would get done to future two would be a cul-de-sac?
Correct, if
Okay.
if it comes before me, if lots 1 gets developed, lot 2 then gets developed, what this does is it gives us the opportunity to require them to create a cul-de-sac. The easements, the right-of-way
Well,
is
then why aren't you
being
doing it to
established.
lot one? Why doesn't lot one have to have a cul-de-sac in there, if future two does?
Oh, it is getting developed with lot 1. This is
Okay.
all kind of happening at the same time.
So it's gonna be a driveway.
So really,
Basically, it's all about the connectivity.
it is, correct. Don't think of lot 2 as future. Right now, kind of like Mr. Mullen said, right now you're splitting lots 1 and 2. There is, the future part has to come back before the commission.
Okay.
So,
In other words,
No connectivity.
In other words, what he's saying, the only thing we discussing now is lot 1, and if they decide to come up with another plan, then it'll come before us then for developing, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. But the only subject today discussion is about lot 1 being approved or disapproved. However, that's the objective right now.
Okay.
All right?
You would have to better define connectivity. I don't know that you and I are on the same page
Well,
there.
connectivity means coming through from one street that was stubbed out for a street to continue on with the street to bring it in to that piece of property right there. So, and then coming back around and connecting in to Johnson Street. Connectivity. That's what I'm talking about, connectivity there.
No, sir.
So you're eliminating that is what I'm asking.
I can't say that we're eliminating that because in the future, if they
Well,
wanted
you
to
gotta-
propose that.
Well, you got a
they-
cul-de-sac there now. That's a future cul-de-sac is what you're saying.
We don't know anything as of right now.
Mr. Gardner,
Yes.
when the cove was developed, I'm sure I was not around then here, but when the cove was developed, as any development, they have to have an end street, a stub. So forever, if anything down the road from 100 years from now, like Silver Hills, there has to be, any neighborhood in this entire city, if it hasn't been developed out or they don't own the land next to it, they have to put a stub there for future purposes.
I get all that.
It might be 30, 40 years down the road, but that stub has to be there per the city regulations. Am I correct?
Correct,
Mr. Okay.
and to take that further, the way the regulations read now, if this development, what we're calling the cove got built, the cul-de-sac would have already been a part of that. Yes.
If it's for future.
If it's
development
more
of
than,
that.
if it's more than one lot deep, we now require the cul-de-sac to go in with the initial development, so.
And if I could add a little bit of that too, there have been several other cases around Prattville where stub outs were put and planned for future development into other folks' property.
Yeah.
That have never gone anywhere. And a good example is right off of Fairview with the new church up there. So, but now, of course, the petitioner, I think, is trying to come up here, and she can probably tell you more, but as mentioned earlier, this is air property. So, you don't know exactly, there's 7, I think, altogether, because before they were trying to divide it up 7 different ways. But a lot of that has to be contingent with touching a city street.
To get the 7 lots like they originally wanted to do, did not meet the regulations because you could not, you have to have 20 foot of roadway frontage connecting to a public roadway. 7 lots with this layout, you could not make that work. So that's why they've come back and all they're doing is trying to plot lots 1 and lots 2.
Well, all I'm saying is I think it works for everybody. I think that the people in the Cove just want some assurance that, hey, that there's not gonna be a lot of traffic, coming through there. So, I mean, it works for everybody, but when you brought in the cul-de-sac in it, I mean, that made it, a little bit more.
If this plan is approved today, assuming it is, the property owners at this location would have rights to build 2 houses. One on lot 1, one on lot 2,
Yeah.
and that would be it, without coming back before planning commission.
With still access to come in off of McGriff Street as well, because there's room there.
Correct.
Right.
The way it was surveyed out.
Correct.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
But it could also come off of Johnson Street as well.
Yeah.
I mean, our powers are limited.
Correct, it could come off of Johnson Street.
Right.
Good evening. I'm Latricia Gardner at 106 White Oak Court in Prattville, Alabama, and I am the owner, or trying to be the owner
Would y'all please, excuse me a minute, would y'all please keep it quiet?
of Lot 1. And I know a lot of stuff that's being said in here today is over my head. I don't understand it. But only thing I'm trying to do is to get Plat 1 approved and an interest to Plat 1 to, from McGriff Street. All that other lots, I'm not even concerned about that. I don't know what's gonna happen to those, but like the young man said, Mr. Mullins, the other heirs.
Excuse me a minute, Trish. Hey, would y'all please keep it quiet? Cause she's speaking now. Please go ahead.
The other heirs, I've tried to explain to them, and they know that they'll have to come back before you all if they want to do anything else to those lots. This has been a pure, I don't know if any of you all know anything about our property, but this has been a journey for me. And all I'm concerned about now is Plat 1. I might not even be living when somebody wants to do something with Plat 2. And I'm not worried about that now. I just want a house built on Plat 1. I want to be able to go through Plat 1 through McGriff Street and get to my house. I don't party. I don't have no lot of company. I don't like no lot of traffic. So you won't have to worry about that.
Well, that's the objective right now, is to, we're
Yes.
working on
Plat 1.
1 only.
Only.
Right.
Only. And that's
Plat
it.
2 is in place, but we're only working on Plat 1 at
Plat
this
1.
moment.
Plat 1.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just to piggyback on something that was previously mentioned, somebody said there was an entry off Johnson Street. So from what I understood from the property owners is that they had to access through McGriff Street. So my question is, why are they not considering Johnson Street, just out of curiosity?
Well,
Yeah. According to the drawing, Lot 2 has access to Johnson Street. Lot 1 would only have access to McGriff.
Yes.
all right? Is there anything else? Hear none, I'll close the public hearing. All right, Mr. Hayden, would you please read in the resolution?
Yes. Resolution preliminary plat, Moses H. Thomas Estate, Plat 1, April 17, 2025. Whereas Larry E. Speaks and Associates Incorporated has presented a preliminary plat of Moses H. Thomas Estate for consideration by the Planning Commission. And whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits south of McGriff Street and west of Johnson Street, and whereas a sketch plan of the proposed development was approved on November 21, 2024, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed development was heard on April 17, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby approves preliminary plat of Moses H. Thomas Estate, Plat 1, with waivers. So moved.
Do I hear a second? All right, is there further discussion? Is there further discussion? Hear none, I call for the vote. All in favor of the Moses H. Thomas Estate Plat 1, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carried. All right. Item number 4, this is a preliminary plat. It's Durden Gaston Pit Plat 1. Location is Gaston Pit Road and Durden Road. This is a public hearing. William Turner is the owner, Alabama Land Surveyor, and this is a public hearing. This is a public hearing. You've signed in already?
Me?
Oh, no, go ahead, go ahead. I gotta have a little fun. Go ahead.
So here we have just an overview of that surrounding community and that property. Here's a closer look at that proposed lot. This property is currently zoned R3. This proposed plat is requesting to subdivide a 1.86 acres into 2 lots, with Lot 1 having frontage on Gaddis Pit Road, while Lot 2 will have frontage on Durden Road and Gaddis Pit Road as a corner lot. Please note that the preliminary plat was presented at the December 19th, 2024 meeting and was approved. The applicant is now submitting a revised plat due to the changes in the lot sizes. The original submittal included Lot 1 at 0.61 acres and Lot 2 at 1.25 acres. The revised plat that's being requested for today is 0.79 for Lot 1, and for Lot 2 it would be 1.07 acres as well. This plat is also requesting waivers for curb and gutters as well as sidewalks.
All right.
Any questions?
Do we have any questions? All right, this is a public hearing. Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. If anybody would like to come up and speak. This is a public hearing. You've signed in already, sir.
No, sir, I'm James Monk with Alabama Land Surveyors.
Okay.
I'm not sure if this is the time I should speak on behalf of the petitioner, but we did change this lot up, so I just want to kind of address that at that point in time.
All right.
Thank you. I know one of the issues at hand last time was about the turnaround for our garbage trucks, fire trucks, and so forth.
That's correct.
Basically, so how is that being handled on this?
This new configuration does away with her accessing it from Gaddis Pit. She would come in right off of Durden Road. The petitioner didn't want, or indicated that the funds in putting in this roundabout was outside of her means, so we've reconfigured for her to not use Gaddis Pit and come in directly off of Durden Road.
Okay, so the long, help me with the diagram here then, is that that's just a driveway, correct?
That's right, yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you. Well, never mind, I'll make a comment as we get ready to vote on this.
Are there any other?
You got your mic.
It is a public meeting. Any other comments? If none, then we will move to introducing the resolution. Muggs, would you read that in, please?
Yes. Resolution waivers, Durden Gaddis Pit plat, April 17, 2025. Whereas Alabama Land Surveyors Incorporated has submitted the preliminary plat of Durden Gaddis Pit plat for consideration by the Prattville Planning Commission with the following waiver request. Number one, subdivision regulations 4 Tax 6, curbs and gutters shall be required for all streets. Number two, subdivision regulations 4 Tax 6, 9, sidewalks are required on both sides of arterial and collector streets. Now therefore it be resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby approves said waiver request. So moved.
Here, a second.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. And Reuben is back. We have all in favor signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. The motion is approved. Okay.
Have you read the resolution in?
I'll read it now.
All right.
Resolution, preliminary plat, Durden Gaddis Pit plat. Whereas Alabama Land Surveyors Incorporated has presented a preliminary plat of Durden Gaddis Pit plat for consideration by the Planning Commission, and whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits at 733 Gaddis Pit Road, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed preliminary plat was heard on April 17, 2025, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby approves the preliminary plat of Durden Gaddis Pit plat with waivers. So moved.
All right, do I hear a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion?
Yes. Just, I guess I need to put a disclaimer out there on the city side of all this, is that, according to the plat here, it does list Gaddis Pit Road as a prescriptive paved right-of-way. The city just wants to be put on the record saying is that in no shape, form, or fashion have we ever maintained this road, and never will we until proper right-of-way and paving. It goes through the proper process for us to accept it. So I just need to be on the record for that.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hear none, call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Thank you. Item number 5. It's a public hearing as well, and it's the preliminary plat in the Yarborough subdivision, plat number 1C. Location is 530, 536, and 546 West 4th Street. Owner is Laura and Janetta Biller. All right, Alabama Land Surveyor. This is a public hearing. Please read it.
So here we have the Yarborough plat. It is currently 3 lots, but they are replatting into 2 lots. And there's a closer view of it off of 4th Street, West 4th Street. And it is zoned for R3. There's currently 2 homes present on the lots. Here's a closer, here's the preliminary plat. They are requesting waivers for sanitary sewer, stormwater, curb and gutter, and sidewalks. There is currently no curb, gutter, sidewalks, storm sewer, or sanitary sewer on West 4th Street, or in the vicinity. Any questions?
Y'all have any questions? Not? Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Does anyone like to get up and speak? Is there anyone like to speak? Hear none, I call for the close of the public hearing. Let me see. Mr. Mayor, would you read it, the resolution in?
Resolution waivers, Yarborough plat, April 17th, 2025, whereas Alabama Land Surveyors Incorporated has presented the preliminary plat of Yarborough for consideration by the Planning Commission with the following waiver request. 1, subdivision regulation 4.3, infrastructure improvements, including sidewalk and curb and gutter. 2, subdivision regulation 4.11, sanitary and stormwater sewer improvements. Now therefore be it resolved, the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby approves said waiver request. So moved, Mr. Chair.
Do I hear a second? All right. Any further discussion? All right. All in favor, let it be known by raising the right hand for the waiver. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Now, would you read the preliminary plat?
Yes, sir. Resolution preliminary plat, Yarborough subdivision plat 1C, whereas Alabama Surveyors Inc. has presented a preliminary plat of Yarborough subdivision plat Inc. 1C for consideration by the Planning Commission, whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits at 503, 536, 530, 536, and 546 West 4th Street, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed preliminary plat was heard on April 17th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby approves the preliminary plat of Yarborough subdivision plat 1C with waivers. So moved.
Do I hear a second? All right. Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Hear none, I call for the vote. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand of this preliminary plat. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay. Now, we're going back into another public hearing. This is zoning amendment R3. Location is number 6, the preliminary plat, Old Farm Lane, plat 1. Location, Old Farm Lane, land south. Owner is Proto 2 PGOZ Travel LLC. This is a public hearing.
So, here we have just a, overview of that surrounding community, for that proposed property. And just give you an idea of the location, it's right across from, Lowe's. Here's a, closer look at that proposed property. This property is currently zoned B2. The applicant is requesting to subdivide into 2 lots, which will be 3.13 acres for both of those lots. Both lots will have frontage along Old Farm Lane South. Lot 2 currently have existing structures. However, the applicant do have plans to demolish those structures. The applicant can go more detail regarding the commercial development timelines and accessibility. Do y'all have any questions for me?
Any question?
Thank you.
Not at this moment, thank you. This is a public hearing. Does anyone like to come up and speak? This is a public hearing. Is there anyone like to come up and speak?
John Lee Finnegan, 211 Deer Trace. I only have a question, and Bree sort of brought it up. Under the staff comments, it says Lot 2 currently contains existing structures that are proposed to be demolished upon review and approval of the required plans and permit applications by the appropriate city departments and commission. The applicant can go more in detail regarding the site accessibility, development timeline, and proposed land use designs. The question I have is if they have some idea what's going there, and I know that this group, that Oz group or whatever, it's, I think Peachtree, it's something to do with a hotel group. So I'm wondering if they're considering a hotel there, and I'd just like to find out what is going to be developed there, because we also have those the lots, the city owns on the other side. And I just want to know how much traffic we're going to be getting on Old Farm Lane, because we know that's all going to be developed. Also regarding the hotels, you know, what a height would be, and I know that you'd come back with something like that, or they'd come back with what their plans are. But I just think that needs to be taken into consideration. So the main thing is I would like to hear, they've got to have some idea of what they're going to put in there, since they've paid that much for that piece of property. So, and they're dividing it. So that's just the main thing I want to know.
All right. Is there anyone here who can answer the question?
Good afternoon, I'm James Monk with Alabama Land Surveyors. On behalf of the petitioner, they are a hotel group, but I'm not really at liberty to get into their plan designs or building heights or, you know, their engineering concept. You know, it would certainly meet regulations for the zoning, you know, not be over maybe 65 feet or I think 6 floors or whatever that may be. I don't have it in front of me, but, you know, they are far enough along. As you can see, there's several private easements that we're requesting on this plat to be put in place. So, you know, they have a concept, but I don't believe they have their full plans ready to submit.
Okay. Anyone have any questions?
I have a comment. I would just ask.
What's your name?
Linda Gilmore.
You-
And I'm the property manager for the apartment complex.
What's your address?
500 Oak Farm Lane.
Okay.
Okay, and my family has a vested interest in those apartment complexes. I have residents that have been there 16, 17 years. And this hotel, if this is what's going to go in there, which we had heard there's going to be 2, we want to be good neighbors. We have no problem against people advancing. But we do want it to take into consideration, you're going to butt up next to people's homes. They're apartments, but they are their homes. And so we just want to know, like, how that's going to be separated, if there's going to be extensive tree lines, security fence, whatever, things like that in the future, just to be able to take that into consideration.
All right. Mr. Muller?
Thank you. This is very similar to what we just did a while ago. So we're just only dividing the dirt. Right now.
Right.
Any future plans of hotels or whatever, that will be scrutinized heavily by the city, the engineers, this commission. So all we're doing now is giving the availability to take this and make it 2 lots.
Okay.
To where if they do have plans, and it might work, it might not. So it just depends on what they put together and what do. We're not actually doing anything with that now.
Right, I understand.
And
I
that'll
just
be
wanted to put that
heavily vetted by
reminder
that time.
out
Yeah,
there
sure.
that these are people's homes that have
Right.
been in.
I just want you to know, we don't have, I don't even have any idea what's gonna be done.
Okay.
And most of us, I don't think, do, but if it comes to that time, yes, it will go through the entire process as it does on any project that comes to City of Prattville.
Okay, thank you.
I do also want to point out that any civil plans, site plans that are submitted is going to be reviewed by the city department. So we do have regulations and requirements in place, so we don't have any disturbance where adjacent or adjoining residential areas and things like that. And then engineer can talk about his part.
Full transparency, we have received construction plans for 2 hotels at this location. Those plans have been reviewed once. They were waiting on resubmittal of those plans, so.
Okay. This is a public hearing. Does anyone else like to come up and speak?
Let me just make a mention. Dennis Mullins, so being that they've already been submitted and they're under review, when will they come before this board? I mean, if they're looking at them now.
Construction plans do not come before the planning commission as long as they meet the regulations. That's what we're kind of there for, is to make sure they meet those regulations, so they will not come back before this board.
It's already zoned B2, so it's.
Correct, as long as they're meeting the zoning now. I assume, and Jamie probably can answer this, it is 2, from what I understand, 2 separate hotels. That's probably why they're dividing into 2 separate lots. Just from a legal standpoint, it has to be 2 separate property owners.
So we do know that there are going to be 2 hotels there, is basically what we're saying. Okay, well, that's.
We do know that we've received construction plans. Whether or not they move forward, that's up to them, but we have received construction plans.
All right. This is a public hearing.
One more question. So if it doesn't come before the committee again, for the height, do they have to come before the committee to say how high it's going to be? I mean, you know, that's what I'm worried about, is, you know, it's talking about 6 or 4 stories, you have 2 4 stories.
It will come before us, and that would be determined once it come before us, but as of right now, we don't know.
No.
Exactly.
But so it would come before you, and so if they said, oh.
I want to point out that site plans, civil plans, and things of that nature, it does not come in front of the planning commission. However, if the applicant or the owners did want to do something outside of the zoning ordinance or our subdivision regulations, they would have to go to the BZA commission. However, I'm not assigned to this review. However, I want to say that they're not doing anything that's outside of the zoning ordinance, where they would have to come in front of a city commission.
Okay, and I could find out what the height of hotels, right?
5 story.
Is it 5 stories?
5 stories is 65 feet. Yeah. Current zoning is 5 stories
is.
or 65 feet.
Oh, okay, all
So
right.
they're
that's-
restricted by that.
Yeah. so
They would have to go to a different
And they both
zoning.
could be 5 stories each.
Well, every building on
Yeah.
that property could be 5 stories,
Okay.
yes.
All right, thank you.
All right. This is a public hearing. Is it anyone else like to speak? Hear none, we close the public hearing. Would you please read it in?
All
right. Resolution preliminary plat, Old Far Lane, Plat 1, April 17, 2025. Whereas Alabama Land Surveyors has presented a preliminary plat of Old Farm Lane, Plat 1, for consideration by the Planning Commission, and whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits off Old Farm Lane South, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed preliminary plat was heard on April 17, 2025, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby approves the preliminary plat of Old Farm Lane, Plat 1.
Do you?
Yes, so moved.
Moved, yes.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Hear none, I call for the vote. All in favor of this preliminary Old Farm Lane Plat 1, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Item number 7 is a zoning amendment R3, location storage lane in Sedate Davis in extension. Owner David L. Advance and Diane R. Advance, BSI, and this is a public hearing.
So here we have a zoning amendment for, this is the continuation of Glenbrook. This will be entering phase 10. So the zoning amendment is R2 to R3. Here's just an aerial view of the proposed location. It will have street connectivity with Saratoga and Sydney Drive. And it's currently zoned R2, and the future land use map has it as a conservation. I will say this was, let's see, the master sketch plan was approved in December of 2019. But here is the lot, and then here's the master sketch plan. So this is just phases 7 through 10, I believe. Yes, 7 through 10, revision in December 2019. Any questions?
Do we have any questions? Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. Is anybody like to come up and speak? This is a public hearing. Hear none, I close the public hearing. And Ms. Compton, would you please read in the zoning number 7?
Zoning amendment to R3 BSI petitioner, April 17th, 2025, whereas BSI Inc. has submitted a request to zone the property as described in Attachment A and shown in Attachment B, and whereas the subject property is located inside of the city limits at Saratoga Lane and Sydney Drive South Extension, and whereas the petitioner wishes to zone approximately 103.96 acre property to R3, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed zoning amendment was held by the Prattville Planning Commission on April 17th, 2025, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby recommends the zoning of said property to R3. So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any further discussion among the commission?
And this is probably for Mr. Rice. When this was, the sketch plan was.
Turn your mic on.
I'm sorry. When the sketch plan was presented in September of 19, was this property shown as R2?
No, ma'am. So if you go back, there was actually an additional sketch plan reapproved for when we brought in Glenbrook 9 in 2021. But if you will remember, and I know we're all thinking back, especially you and Chairman Gardner, I believe y'all were the only ones on the commission at the time, the only R2 that exists in Glenbrook anywhere is the southern portion of Phase 6. It was the extension of Trolley Road.
That connected.
Yes, ma'am. So if you'll remember back, and I mean, this was 2017, everything else in Glenbrook currently and proposed has been R3 with the exception of that extension of Trolley Road. And if you think back to that meeting, we requested an R3 zoning to be in conformance with everything else in Glenbrook. Some of the surrounding property owners came forward and had issue with us rezoning from R2 to R3. I explained at that time that an R3 zoning in Glenbrook actually affords us the opportunity to build a larger lot and larger homes. And I don't think everybody quite understood what I was saying, and it's due to both the front and the side setbacks associated with R2. And, you know, I tried to explain to everyone that if this remains R2, that Trolley Road area, then it will result in smaller lots and smaller homes than the rest of Glenbrook. And if you'll look throughout Glenbrook, the lots are on average 90 feet wide. We've actually expanded over the years. Phase 9 is on average 95 feet. And our proposal on Phase 10 follows the original master plan, which would result in those 90 to 95 foot wide lots. R2, the only section, which is the southern part of Phase 6, if you were to pull that plat, those are on average 75 foot lots, and they have front entry garages. It is kind of an anomaly. I think I've had to enumerate this over the years a few times, and happy to do it again, but it's kind of an anomaly in the Prattville zoning ordinance, which is the differentiation of the setback from R2 to R3. If we can move forward with R3, the Phase 10 of Glenbrook will look just like Phase 9 and Phase 8 with the bigger lots and the side entry garages and things like that. So that is the request before you today. There is, just in all clarity, there is a comment in the staff report that says Phase 10 was originally proposed to be 114 lots, and it was, but we moved the phase line. Phase 9 got smaller, so we still had the same layout, but right now Phase 10 is like 143 or 147, but Phase 9 was not as big as what's shown there because the phase line moved farther north.
And does this complete the Glenbrook?
Yes, ma'am.
Subdivision?
This will complete the sketch plan that was brought before y'all originally, I believe, in 2012. And it completes the loop, and will make this final big creek crossing connectivity to the end of Sydney Drive South that has, since Phase 6, has been, kind of a temporary cul-de-sac at the edge of one of the large creek crossings. Phase 10 will come around and make that connectivity. But yes, ma'am, it will be the entirety of what was originally Glenbrook.
Any more questions? Hearing none, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Call for the question. All in favor of the storage land of Sydney Drive and S Extension, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. And item 8 is a preliminary plat. This is a public hearing, and it's prevented subdivision. Location is Fairview Avenue South and Sycamore Drive, west of Bedford Traces. Owner is Riverside Church of Prattville. This is a public hearing.
So here we have the Providence preliminary plat. Here's just an aerial view of it, just off of Fairview Avenue. Closer view of it. It is currently zoned R3. And what they plan to do is put 35 single-family residential lots. It'll have street connectivity from Fairview Avenue to Bedford Terrace. And there are no waivers being requested. Any questions?
Do we have any questions? Thank you very much. This is a public hearing. If there's anyone like to come up and speak. This,
I've signed in already.
all right?
Wade Newman, 960 Fireside Drive. I just take the opportunity, nothing specific against this particular plat, just because it followed the Glenbrook. I just wanted to make a comment to the planning department, planning committee, the city and the engineering about possibly in the future, we have a lot of bedroom communities, we have a lot of houses that are stacked. Mixed-use communities tend to be a little better overall on the infrastructure of the city and so forth. And I don't know if we need to address it in the master plan and then the zoning, but you know, look at what Glenbrook is now. There's a lot of homes in one area, and a lot of people have to move to a lot of places, and if mixed use is a little better. So I just wanted to bring that up as a thought for maybe future development, future planning, future zoning. It's hard for me to get everybody in one room like it is right now, so I thought I'd bring that up here. These are fine as they've been done. I just think in the future, maybe we might want to look at more of a mixed-use look to, you know, make it easier for us to move around the city and such. So that's all.
All right, thank you. This is a public hearing.
Just go ahead. I'll wait.
Who's the developer on this property, do we know?
This will be a Stone Martin Builder subdivision.
Okay, I'm just gonna voice my concern about all the traffic on the road right there, so that's all I got to say. Just concerned about more traffic being on 14. It's already backed up enough as it is, so just voicing my concern.
Okay.
Yeah, what I was going to mention is, as you all know, we're currently in construction on Fairview Avenue. Thank you for your patience out there, for whoever travels that roadway, but have been in discussions with the developer so far about a right-hand turn lane that will be required if this is approved. So just wanted to let you know that. Also, I can't remember if you mentioned, I believe y'all approved a larger plan than this prior, that had a roadway extension to the north to tie into Fairview. I do believe with this connection to Bedford Terrace, this is one I think the mayor made mention of earlier, a stub-out street, so to speak. It will help alleviate some of the congestion at the intersection, splitting that traffic up across multiple intersections. So just wanted to let y'all know that we've been in communication so far with the developer about a right-hand turn lane that would be required on our side.
Okay.
Mr. Paxton, while I have you and Mr. Blake sitting right there, sewer line. Where's the sewer line coming in from? Is it coming in from Fairview? Because if it is, we need to go ahead and get it done before we get asphalt put down.
No, sir.
Oh,
There,
yeah.
there is sewer located at the far southeast corner of this
Okay.
project.
Ties in right there at Newton Park, I believe.
It does.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And if you don't mind, the house that's right beside this property, would you be able to reach out to them and see if they want to hook onto sewer? Because I think it's on the other side of Fairview.
Okay.
While we have the
Yeah.
road dug up and everything.
Okay.
I know they came to us before, then they put in a septic tank, so the answer is probably going to be no, but
That's going to be on the west side of Fairview?
actually, of this property?
Yes.
It'd be the east side.
Okay.
East side.
I'll get with you.
Okay, thank you.
One more thing. Isn't that in the curve right there where Sycamore's coming out? So that's that big curve coming in through right there? So it's a little bit further up this way, coming in?
The big curve is actually River Side Presbyterian Church, I think. It's
Oh,
the
that
big,
piece
the
of
big
property a
curve
bit
is
further down.
right there around Sycamore. This is actually just a little bit before it.
Was this Sycamore though? Coming in
Yeah.
across
Yeah,
from Sycamore?
Trinity.
It's just past Trinity Methodist Church.
Yeah.
On the right.
Okay.
So it's prior to the big.
Coming in the curve, okay.
All right, thank you very much. All right, this is a public hearing. Close the public hearing. And, let me see. Mr. Hayden, would you read it in for me again?
Resolution preliminary plat, Providence subdivision, April 17, 2025. Whereas Riverside Church of Prattville has presented a preliminary plat of Providence subdivision for consideration by the Planning Commission. And whereas the proposed development is located inside the city limits at Fairview Avenue west of Bedford Terrace, and whereas a public hearing on the proposed preliminary plat was heard on April 17th, 2025, now therefore be it resolved that the City of Prattville Planning Commission hereby approves the preliminary plat of Providence subdivision. So moved.
Do I hear a second? Second. All right, is there further discussion? Here none, I call for the question. All in favor, let it be known by raising your right hand. All opposed, like sign. Motion carry. And, anything else to be discussed that we know of? Here.
Yes, sir. Would like to welcome our newest member, Mr. Cody. Thank you for being here, and look forward to many more commission meetings.
Thank you.
Mr. Cody, how you like it so far?
It's interesting, I'll tell you that.
Thank you very much. Now, hearing that, it's adjourned. Meeting is adjourned.
No, 35.